Hi, we're live. I'm going to give us a second, make sure people are coming in the room to join us because they had to go from a virtual lobby into the room. But I'm Todd Phillips, RE Journals, Red News. This is my sixth panel today, and I'm so excited to do industrial because I'll put it this way. Somebody told me a couple of weeks ago, his wife said, "Why did you get into industrial real estate?" He said, "I'm not good looking enough to do office." And now all of a sudden, the industrial guys are the cool kids. People are calling up saying, "Hey, how do I get into this industrial? You guys still have transactions closing." So this is the funnest panel of the day. All right. People are in the room. I'm going to have you all introduce yourselves. I'm going to start with Leo. Tell me name, title, where you work, and then just kind of a brief what's going on right now in your kind of COVID world. So go ahead, Leo.
Leo Gomez, President and CEO of Brooks Development Authority for the former Air Force Base here in Southeast San Antonio. Here at Brooks, it's incredible what's been going on despite the crisis. In the midst of the crisis, things are really moving forward. We've got over 550,000 square feet of industrial space literally opening up, occupied.
Right before COVID and even going through COVID, over the past 18 months, we've had 4 major project announcements that are going to deliver over 500,000 square feet of new industrial real estate here in Seguin. So great time to be in Seguin, great time to be in Texas.
All right. Now, Will, word over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Will Curtis. I'm the leasing manager for Port San Antonio. So we're also a redevelopment authority for a former military base. And, we're just nothing but busy right now with everything going on. And a lot of our efforts right now is really growing technology and innovation with, kind of the folks we're working with and what we're trying to attract and the education we're trying to bring in for our community around us.
Wonderful. Love Port San Antonio. All right. So let's talk industrial real estate. I kind of let us off. Maybe I gave it too big of an intro that things are great. But, let's just talk. So maybe we'll approach it sort of by product type. San Antonio's not a bulk warehouse environment per se, maybe like Dallas is. But if are there big boxes and how are those kind of holding up? So, either Josh or Leo, what are you seeing there?
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, so for us out here in Seguin, we're more of a manufacturing community. That's what we typically have been successful with in recruiting the prospects that have established themselves here in Seguin. With that being said, we've been privileged to see a lot of prospect activity lately, and I can tell you that the warehouse and distribution side definitely has picked up. But what we typically see on our end, especially out here in the northeast part of the metro area, is a lot of that will kind of cluster towards the interstate.
For skilled maintenance technicians, really good paying jobs. That's what we're attracting here to Brooks. That's who's prospecting at Brooks. We have a pretty healthy pipeline continuing to look at space. We are having over $500,000 square feet of such space occupied this fall. And we have a number of prospects that are looking, totaling at least another 500,000 that we're taking a look at right now. So that is the hot product, and it helps us and leads towards other things that are important here at Brooks, like residential development and our other quality of life elements, due to the numbers of jobs that these organizations and operations will be bringing to Brooks.
I like it. So I think you're going to get some more bulk warehouse because nobody can build it fast enough in the United States. I heard about Toronto has less than 1% vacancy right now in bulk warehouse, and I don't know that Toronto's anywhere near San Antonio, but it's just crazy. I think it's going to go out of control for a while. But then manufacturing, that's good, solid stuff, right? Those tenants come to town. They might come to Josh. They're going to be there for 20 years. The logistics guys can up and kind of move their robots someplace else, but I like the manufacturing that you're attracting. So, all right. So, Will, why don't you give us an update from your perspective on development, on new construction, getting some new projects in the ground?
Yeah. So, I think market-wide, there's quite a bit going on, especially with the demand for e-commerce. As e-commerce continues to dominate basically how we shop. I think I've got a stack of packages on my front door right now. We're going to continue to see the need for that distribution space and that last mile distribution continue. For us specifically at the port, we're really looking at that manufacturing side of the house. We're looking kind of that advanced manufacturing side of the house, and a lot of what we're working on right now is trying to grow some startups, grow some smaller companies into bigger players. So we've got companies like Plus One Robotics that's doing AI for warehouse robots. So taking an older technology and now kind of giving it a second life. We've got a company, Reckon Point, that's doing similar with LiDAR technology to where they can actually measure space. And I guess there's even talk with them with some of NASA's missions that they may be involved in there. So a lot of our industrial, what we're doing in the industrial side is working and growing those type of businesses. But we're also seeing a lot of cybersecurity, and what we do a lot of is cyber work. And traditionally, the thought process is you go into cybersecurity, go into an office building, and that's where you stay. But what we're seeing right now is that a lot of companies are coming in and they're doing component repair. They're hardening the components, they're hardening those processors and that equipment. So they're needing the warehouse type space to do that work. So it's not the traditional sit down and let me type on a computer and work all that, but actually working on the actual hardware itself.
I love that you brought up the new businesses, because I think that it's hard to find a silver lining in a pandemic where people get sick and die. But with the complete disruption of everything right now, right? It's a perfect time to get that new concept or that new business kind of going, or the one you had off the ground, because you're kind of hit the creative juices and things are changing and it's making it ripe for that. So robotics, cool. Leo and Josh, are you seeing any new emerging businesses that you didn't see before?
I'll tell you, food manufacturing has really picked up in steam. Just logistics of products that you find in retail is one thing, but the food side has really taken a bump in our area in terms of manufacturing for operations. And they are making incredible investments, or at least hoping to make incredible investments. And it's really tied back to the surge that we have in interest of opportunity zone investors. And so whether it's logistics or food manufacturing, if they're signing 25, 30-year deals, opportunity zone investors are flocking towards that kind of opportunity. And here at Brooks, we are a designated opportunity zone. And so you might imagine the good rents that it's bringing to the investors that are involved, plus the tax benefits. It's a perfect storm, so to speak, for the kind of development that we need to finish out our light industrial park here at Brooks, for sure.
There's not a euphemism for perfect sunny day, is there? It's probably not a storm.
There's always a perfect storm, isn't it?
Yeah. In a good way. It's the good storm. We like it.
It's one of those hurricanes that brings good rain, but not harsh winds, right?
There you go. Yeah. I like it. Perfect. And then Josh, how about you?
Yeah, I would kind of echo what Leo was saying. We've seen a tremendous uptick in the amount of food and beverage manufacturing prospects, and having site visits with those folks, even during COVID here. Where we continue to see activity is really on the automotive side of things. That really happened pre-COVID. It was kind of we had a lot of activity picking up as kind of a precursor to the big Toyota expansion that was announced in September of 2019. We were successful with landing a Toyota supplier here in Seguin during that time period, Continental Structural Plastics, and not too far away from Seguin on Interstate 10 in Cibolo, we have Aishin that's building their massive transmission manufacturing facility. But what we're seeing right now, you've got a lot of the automotive suppliers that we believe that are likely going to be working with Tesla, really starting to poke around throughout the San Antonio and Austin region. So we anticipate that that's going to keep us busy, and those are things that we're going to continue to actively recruit to our region, hopefully to Seguin.
That's amazing. All right. So I did an interview. I think I told you guys this offline, but I did an interview with CBRE's top industrial guy last week for my Monday show. You should go back and watch. It's called Power 30. But we were both still trying to figure out onshoring and nearshoring. And so he's the guy, he's got brokers all over the nation and constantly asking the question, are you doing deals? Are there companies moving from overseas into Texas? So anybody have any thoughts on that? Any real deals or any fake deals? You're going to pop the myth
So,
for me,
I
aren't
think-
you? You're going to say, look, it's just not, doesn't have the legs.
I can't. I mean, Brooks, it's a combination. I'm hesitating there because it's a combination of some prospects that were already in the pipeline prior to COVID. On the other hand, they didn't slow down and they came through. I mean, here at Brooks, for example, just in the last year, including into the COVID period, is the French-based Cuisine Solutions, the largest sous vide plant in the world, being built here at Brooks, over 200,000 square feet of space, over $200 million of capital investment is what that building represents. They're going to hire 600 plus people within the next 18 months. And so, that's a French-based company. We've also had pretty good traction with a couple of other European-based companies and continuing with Japanese and South Korean companies in our pipeline. And so that hasn't slowed down. I've got to tell you, we haven't inked the deals, but they're visiting, they're prospecting, and I expect that we're going to be able to move forward. And as Josh said, it is, the auto manufacturing with Navistar now in San Antonio breaking ground, and what that's going to mean to the economy related to components for not only automobiles, but those big rigs and other related equipment. We also are continuing to have great interest from renewable energy, believe it or not just solar panels, but wind turbine engines. And so all those have not faded away.
The wind turbines are amazing. I pass them on the highway all the time. They're crazy. I didn't expect you could build a turbine the size of a skyscraper, but they do. Pretty cool. All right. So Will talked about a lot of opportunities. You both talked about new companies coming into town. Where's the labor? Are we going to have a labor shortage issue, or is San Antonio sitting waiting for some of this stuff, and we're going to be able to, or the size South Texas?
No,
Any thoughts, Will? How's labor there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have we've got the talent here. I think one of the things we're doing, and the port's doing right now, is kind of repositioning and working on some of that workforce training. There's some political things that are going on right now as well with the election coming up that would increase some funding. So I think we're doing a good job at trying to get some of that short-term training to fill the jobs we need right now. But I think we're also doing a good job as a region is looking out, and what are those jobs 10 years from now? What are those jobs 15 years from now? What are they going to look like? How do we need to work with our middle and high school students? I mean, we've got a museum on the property right now that I couldn't tell you how many students have come through, but it's all about science and technology, looking at STEM. They've got a mock-up of a cybersecurity lab where they can actually fight the threats and do that kind of work. So they're trained, they're ready to go, and they can see that, hey, these are the jobs of the future. They're here, and they're right in our backyard. They're in our neighborhood. So I think we're doing a good job of getting ahead of the game and planning those things out, so we make sure we keep the workforce. And I think that's the thing that's really changing in economic development right now is an industrial. We've never really sat down and looked at placemaking in industrial. We talk about it in retail, we talk about it in multifamily, a little bit in office, and that placemaking, but really in industrial, in the manufacturing, is they're getting smarter, they're getting more advanced on the manufacturing that's going on. So I think we're going to start seeing that transition to placemaking and really synergies to where economic policies, incentives, throwing money at companies, it's going to help, but it's not going to be the main reason why somebody comes to San Antonio. I think Amazon HQ2 was a perfect example of they didn't go to one of the major cities, but they went someplace that had talent, they had infrastructure, they had the things that they were looking for. And I think that's what we're working to build here in San Antonio as well, and in our industries is that you come to San Antonio because it's world class. That's where you want to be, is in San Antonio, to do this kind of work. And as we continue to grow and brand ourselves as such, I think that's really where we go to help continue to develop the workforce and have that available workforce, so that companies are going to come here just for the pure synergies of the market that we have.
I think the tech world has found Texas. I think that they've all said, wait, tax environment, business friendly, we're moving. Leo, you talked about robotics, but robotics doesn't mean no jobs, right?
Absolutely not. I mean, Will alluded to it, and the port, I think, is doing a great job here in San Antonio of developing that climate, that culture, and those operations that are going to provide for the future workforce, especially the robotics and the niche industries that the port is pursuing. They're doing a terrific job in that respect. We're trying to follow suit in the areas and the industries that are the right niche for Brooks. Here at Brooks, for example, we've got 3 high schools on campus, 3 high schools on 1,300 acres with specialized curriculums. In addition to the medical school that we have on campus of the University of the Incarnate Word to help supply the hospital and all the medical related operations coming onto the Brooks campus. So those things are taken in place. But I've got to say, in addition, San Antonio has on the ballot consideration of $120 million plus in job training funds here in San Antonio, targeting the 40,000 plus people that are still out of a job because of this crisis. And what I think is really needed, and I think what San Antonio is determining, that what we have is an abundance of labor. What we need is some upskilling. And it doesn't take years of that kind of training. It takes specialized training for particular industries, like the port is providing for them, like we will try to provide here at Brooks, like we will try to provide to the auto manufacturing industry and such. It'll be a benefit not only to San Antonio, but the entire region. Additionally, on top of that, logistics and robotics, you need people to keep the robots healthy. You need people to keep the robots moving. You need people to keep the robots on time. Those are skilled maintenance technicians for the most part. Here at Brooks, we're working on a partnership with the county to develop a training center located here at Brooks in our industrial park, specifically addressing skilled maintenance technicians. I love that we've got companies coming in and the labor is here, but companies are beginning to look at each other and trying to take folks away from each other. And so we've got plenty in the San Antonio area within those companies that can be upskilled to being skilled maintenance technicians. And that's what San Antonio is poised to invest in.
I don't think we got to worry about robots until they stop and fix themselves and start to build new ones. Then I think we might be in trouble. Josh, what are your thoughts? Labor and the markets.
I would like to, pretty much what Will and Leo said, I'd like to echo that. And if you know anybody out there that wants to be an industrial maintenance technician, I would highly encourage, because those are highly sought after positions, especially in our region. And they make a lot of money, and you can get that certification and fill that position with not a whole lot of college debt. So that's definitely something that we're working pretty much in the same boat to fill that pipeline, to fill other pipelines that a lot of our manufacturers need. There's I don't think the issue of will we have enough bodies here. We're lucky to be in an area that just continues to grow like a wildfire. It's just a matter of, can we have that pipeline of skilled workers that our companies needs? And I think it's up to all of us and in the economic development field to really be working with industry, with higher education, with our school districts, to have a better understanding of what the needs of industry are and fill those pipelines. We're very active in National Manufacturing Day and National Manufacturing Month. And due to COVID, we had to transition to a lot of virtual experiences this year. We would typically do bus tours for students in our area high schools here. But this year we had 5 different manufacturers provide 5 different virtual events for kids in middle and high school. And it was a great way to not only highlight the companies that are here in Seguin, but we also wanted to highlight just the career ladder that's available and the career opportunities that are available in your own backyard. So it's things like that, looking at what we need immediately in terms of skill training, but, thinking about the future and what we're going to need for that workforce, and also providing that industry exposure and getting the younger generation excited about careers in manufacturing and highlighting the opportunities there, I think is going to, I see all the efforts that are going on in this region, in San Antonio and Bexar County, and out here in Seguin and Guadalupe County, and everywhere else. I think we're really working hard in the trenches to ensure that we're meeting those needs for our employers.
I love that. I'm going to clip that out and put it on my show. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so we've got 4 minutes left. I want to, you all are in a position where you can see the new things coming, right? You kind of see the pipeline, and everybody's painted a pretty rosy picture. So I'm going to go to Leo's perfect storm idea. And we're all, we got the big wave. We're surfing. We're on the big wave. How long are things going to stay like this? And what does the next 12 to 18 months look like from an industrial real estate perspective? You can just, whenever you're ready, take it.
Industrial is going to keep going. It's got too much of a steam in the block to not keep going at the pace that it's been going. I think we at Brooks are really seeing the end of available land in our light industrial park. And I think it's going to happen over literally the next year or two, definitely not more than 3 years to do that. So that's continuing. And for us as a mixed use community, what that means is jobs, numbers of people coming onto the campus every year. Every day. And as a mixed use community, what does that mean for our residential development? What does it mean for our retail development and our hospitality development? And those are our challenges over the next year. It's not attracting light industrial users to Brooks. They're coming. And what we have to do is figure out how we're going to bridge that challenge between now and 12 months from now to continue developing the retail that these employers are looking for that will add to the quality of life for their employees, plus the residential. And actually, the residential isn't such a challenge. Folks are seeing the numbers coming to Brooks, and the developers are knocking on our door. And again, you tie all that up with opportunity zone investors that must make investments by certain periods of time in the year, and things are matching up. The challenge is meeting those quality of life expectations. That's our challenge at Brooks. We've created and embarked on a mixed use community that gives a great quality of life to the workforce that comes onto our campus. And getting that retail reactivated, especially restaurant business and such, that makes this a great place to not just work, but actually stay, live, send your kids to school, is what we are continuing to try to figure out, and will be our challenge over the next 12 to 18 months.
Well, lucky for you, we have 2 panels coming up on retail and housing and the market. Hopefully they're telling as good of a story as you are. Let's go either Josh or Will.
Yes, I'll jump in. So, I'm a broker by trade, right? So take that how you will. We're eternal optimists, but I really think in reality, I don't see the end yet. Will it eventually start to taper? Sure, but I think we're already in a good direction pre-COVID. COVID sped a lot of things up in the industry, really in a lot of things. Kind of just push. I think Casey Conway says it's 5 to 10 years ahead of where we actually are. Had COVID not happened. So I definitely think that industrial is going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to see that growth. And for us, we're seeing that same growth and seeing that same innovation, and still trying to plug in those individuals that are coming to us into those legacy industries with the cybersecurity, with those other industries like advanced manufacturing and aviation, that we're finding those synergies where they all start to really work together. I think those will be some of the things we see in the future, is how cybersecurity really plays into things like airports and aviation, how it plays into manufacturing, how it plays into just everyday life, right? We've all got iPhones or smart devices on us. Cybersecurity is going to continue to play into that, and while that's always going to be a demand, I think we're going to continue to see the industrial demand continue for us, just because you have to work on the hardware, you have to work on that software. For us, I run into the problem where sometimes we can't meet the necessarily all the demand that's out there, just because you can only build products so fast. And we're working on trying to find those solutions to it. But the industrial market's hot, and there's a lot of things that just doesn't quite fit with us. That we're okay saying, hey, this isn't quite the best fit for us, so we can spend that time and spend that energy into developing those companies in the future that are going to help lead and develop San Antonio.
Awesome. Well, Josh, you're going to have to take us home. All right, get out your crystal ball. Let us know what it looks like.
I would say, I don't see it slowing down either. It's just you would have thought, COVID would have been, something as disruptive as it was to maybe put the brakes on something as like the industrial market, but it didn't happen. It actually sped it up, and we're continuing to remain busy. I think for us, what we're focusing on is ensuring that we can move as fast as some of these projects and prospects are wanting to move. And for us on our end, that comes in investing in infrastructure. We need to ensure that we have, sites that are development ready, that have, industrial grade utilities already extended to the sites, all that figured out way ahead of time. And that's what we're actively doing here in Seguin. We're thinking ahead. We want to be ahead of these projects and ensure that we can meet the demands associated with it on the utility side. Our housing market here in Seguin continues to just really, it's been a record-breaking year for us. So, we see that continuing to, I think, add to, our labor force here in the community. We'll continue to add to the consumer demand here within the region as well. And at the end of the day, that's all going to really lead to, I think, the industrial market keep, trucking along. So it's more, I think, on our end of just making sure that we can keep up the pace and plan accordingly to accommodate these developments as they start to come in.
Fantastic. I got to take us to the next panel. I got to address something in the chat room real quick, though. John Mueller sent me a private message, said the lobby said this starts at 1:45, but the agenda said 1:35. We've been having an issue with our software deciding that if we don't log in on time, that our event never just needed to happen. So we've told the software that it's 10 minutes later. Don't shut us down. So ignore that. This next panel is going to start at 2:05. Even when you come in, it might say 2:15, 2:05. I'm going to bring that next group live. And there's a link in the chat room to that lobby that'll take you to the next panel. And everybody's bio is there too. So if you want to network with these gentlemen or you have more questions for them, there's a little LinkedIn button below their names. Push the button, you can connect with them, and they can get back with you and get you more information and help you move your company to San Antonio or South Texas.
Absolutely.
Thank you. This was a wonderful panel.
Thank you.
Way better than talking to Fauci about how many people died. This is good stuff. All right. We'll see you all.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.